Hello everybody, this is Rook, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About. Today we'll be diving straight into one of my new favorite series that I've discovered, Assassin's Creed, and we're taking this all the way back to the beginning. Months ago when Assassin's Creed came out for free on Xbox, I decided to get it, try it out. I'd already seen Assassin's Creed stuff before, mainly Assassin's Creed 2, and I was really excited to get into this. So let's start with a short story synopsis of the original Assassin's Creed. You are Desmond Miles, an assassin who ran away from home, not wanting to be a part of this secret war between the Assassins and the nefarious Templars. Now, the Assassins fight for ideology, as do the Templars. The Assassins believe that humanity is at its best when they're using their free will to govern themselves, freedom of speech, all that different stuff. However, the Templars believe that humans are naturally weak and corruptible. Therefore, they need strict order in order to progress as a species. And the Templars, although wiped out historically, if you understand, the Knights Templar, they have rebirthed themselves as Abstergo Industries, and using their various funds, they have gathered together a large number of scientists led by the very, very nasty scientist Dr. Warren Vidic. And they have created what is known as the Animus Project. This is a very interesting piece of technology. If you understand human biology, the DNA you carry has blueprints from all of your ancestors in it. Using it, we can trace your bloodline back 10s, 20s, 30 generations, and you can find out who you were related to, and even find people in the modern day. Using this genetic information, you're able to get into this virtual reality machine, and you're able to live the lives of your ancestors. Desmond Miles, the man they've captured, has a rich biological history. He's related to a number of assassins throughout the ages, and all of them have had something to do, in one way or another, with finding extremely powerful artifacts called the Pieces of Eden. These can be used to control humanity and give the Templars extreme amounts of power. That's why they captured Desmond Miles, having caught him pretty much with his pants down in the middle of New York City, without, any assistance whatsoever, because he ran away from the assassins. So, you as Desmond are stuck in the Animus, constantly trying to find this piece of Eden for the Templars, playing as Altair ibn al-Ahad, a assassin during the Third Crusade, 12th century Jerusalem. You are fighting against the Knights Templar, like when they were actually the Knights Templar. You also fight the Knights Hospitalier, or the Knights Hospitalier, if you really like saying it that way. But Altair's mission is to recover a piece of Eden from the buried remains of King Solomon's temple. However, during this assignment, he breaks every single tenet of the Assassin Code, which is do no harm to the innocent, do not endanger the Brotherhood. Essentially, he just destroys everything that he stands for. So, as he attempts to recover the piece of Eden, the Grand Master of the Templars and his cronies are able to use his arrogance against him, and the two assassins you're with are brothers. One of them is killed in the attempt. You run for your life. You literally are a coward. You just run away and leave the other two to their devices. One of the two brothers dies, and the other one has to have his arm amputated. He is the one that brings back the Apple of Eden, which is the powerful artifact that your master sent you there for. Your master reprimands you before an army of Templars shows up at your castle. You have to fight them off, and after all of that, your leader Al-Mualim says you're too dangerous, you've already done so much harm, I can't let you live, and pretends to kill you. Really, he just puts you into a coma for a few days. A lot of people that was their revenge on you for kind of betraying their order in the way that you did. So you start out as an initiate, you don't even get a weapon, and you slowly work your way back up the chain to a master assassin, and your goal is to assassinate 9 Templar leaders, including their Grand Master who you faced at the beginning, Robert de Sab, and your job is to destabilize their efforts in the region, because the Third Crusade is not going well for the Assassins, and if the Templars win this war in the Middle East, it's over for you. You're going to be hunted down and exterminated. So you've got to kill these 9 Templar leaders who are destabilizing your efforts in the entire region. So let's get into the actual likes and dislikes of the game. So first off, Altair ibn al-Ahad, the original assassin. Up until Assassin's Creed Rogue, you can wear his robes. He is a cool cat. He is one of the most awesome assassins, and if I was given a list of assassins that I revere, Altair would be like the number one guy that I would bow to and call Grand Master. He's just such an interesting character to play as. His character development is very good. if a little bit light, but I remember this is an older game, so I give him a little credence for that. I would say a lot of people criticize Altair's voice actor. It sounds weird having an American voice actor in the Middle East, but I grew attached to that voice actor, and I'm saddened when they changed it later in the series for other things. I just grew used to it. So Altair himself is just a really cool assassin. He's got the original white robes with red accents, very light red accents on it. It just looks incredible. Also, another part of the story, Malik, the brother who loses his arm and lost his brother because of your arrogance. Throughout the course of the game, he is actually assigned as the leader of an assassin bureau. He runs the headquarters in Jerusalem. You meet with him because you have to get your assignments from him at some points. He is very harsh to you, very brutal. At the end of the game, like later on, as you begin to understand what it means to be an assassin again, Malik forgives you. You two are friends. It's a really wonderful kind of feel-good reunion. There are three bureau guys that I remember. There's Malik, who's overly hard on you. There's one guy who didn't really know much about you, and then the third guy knew how good you were and constantly encouraged you. So it was a good balance of push yourself harder, you're doing good, and hey, I can only see what you're doing right now. So it was a very, very nice balance of all of that. But the story of redemption you work with Malik is absolutely wonderful. So the actual story, this includes the story outside the Animus and in the Animus. I would like to say it's very good progression-wise, very good pacing, with the idea between Desmond, Dr. Vidic, and his assistant Lucy Stillman. You get a very good feeling. Lucy is sympathetic towards you. She is a very kind soul. You can actually talk to her quite a bit and gets a lot of extra dialogue, a lot of extra information. So it's really, really good. The three characters in the real world they give you and the one room you're stuck in for the entirety of the game, they go miles with the amount of stuff you could do. You can look at the computer that Lucy has. She'll give you a code for it, and you can look at emails that she's sent around, get really into the story. So they went all in on both ends, story-wise. The story writers are definitely to be commended for Assassin's Creed's very good story. Also, all throughout the game, you're told about Subject 16. Clay is his first name. Kazmarek is his second. Clay Kazmarek. He's Subject 16. You, Desmond Miles, are Subject 17. So you hear all about how he died. He committed suicide. He literally went crazy from the Animus experience. He got into so many people's lives that it started messing with his own head. So Lucy expresses, guilt at having, been partially responsible for his death. It's just a really interesting moral question. Is this going to happen to me? Eventually you hear more about Clay Kazmarek. I used to call him Sizmarek. But, you hear more about Subject 16, and it's a really nice introduction for later in the series when he's better introduced. Templars versus Assassins. This is the perfect way to introduce the fight between Templars and Assassins. Usually, in most of the games, it's pretty one-sided as to what they show you. Either Templars are all bad or Assassins are all bad, and yes, there is some change-up later in the series. But the point is, in Assassin's Creed, you find one of the men you're supposed to assassinate is a doctor. He is not kind, but he does all these terrible things to people. Like one man tries to run away, and the man he has his guards break their legs. But as you kill the captain, as you kill the doctor, he says, "Who do you think all my guards are? They're people I've helped off the street, people who were insane, people who were opioid addicts, people who were prostitutes, people who were starving and dying on the street. I'm helping them. And you just killed me, and now they're going to regress, and this is going to be worse because of you." It makes you question what you're doing, but it also, you still have a reason. Altair gives good reason as to why he's doing what he is. Their motives are correct. That's the thing about Templars. The motives are correct, but how they go about accomplishing their goals is incorrect. That's a very good theme that's introduced in Assassin's Creed. It puts you on the side of the Assassins, and it really helps you understand their whole dynamic. That's a very good introduction to the whole war that's been going on for millennia. Also, Robert de Saab, a very interesting villain. You don't get to see very much of him, and when you do finally face him, it's like, you have a huge fight with him near Arsuf, castle in the Middle East. If you don't know what that is, you know your geography, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have all these different things that happen all to get to Robert de Saab. All the other villains talk him up, and then when you finally face him, it is worth it. It's not a cheap boss fight. It feels like yes, I got you! Like, finally! It just feels absolutely amazing. So, again, this is not going to be spoiler review, so I'm going to stay away from those. King Richard the Lionhearted. I'm a history buff. King Richard the Lionhearted makes 2 appearances in this game. You actually get to talk with him once. And he's a really, really nice character, a voice of reason. He's not, this romanticized figure. He's a man. You can tell a lot of things. He's just great. I love seeing historical figures in video games, especially when they have the ability to do so in Assassin's Creed. King Richard the Lionhearted. It's just like, yes, yay. It was so fun to meet and talk with him just for a few brief minutes. That was one thing that really tickled my fancy. So, gameplay-wise, let's get into the gameplay, because that was all story. Gameplay-wise, it's very basic systems. It's an old game. So the original Assassin formula was developed here. The introduction of new tools is very good. As you kill each target, you get better stuff. For example, one time you get throwing knives. Another time you get the ability to, jump down and assassinate people instead of just walk up to them and assassinate. I think it's absolutely wonderful the amount of extra stuff you get to do because of the progression. The progression is just good. Like I said earlier, the story is paced very well, and the gameplay progression is also paced very well. The locations, it's one of my favorite things in a video game, exploring the open world. 11th century Jerusalem, Acre, Damascus, all of these places. I am a huge history nerd, climbing the Dome of the Rock, visiting Solomon's old temple underground, visiting Acre, where the Knights Hospitalier are placed, visiting the city of Damascus. It was just so cool for me to run around. I got to walk through the eastern gate of Jerusalem where the Lord is said to come back. It's just, for me personally, I love the history of it. All of that was where it should be. I had my dad, who was a huge history buff, give me pretty much a tour of Jerusalem. He's like, as I passed certain buildings, he's like, oh yeah, that's that building. Hey, where's the Dome of the Rock? Can you climb that? Yeah, I can climb that. Synchronized viewpoint. Yeah, it's just so cool to see all this different stuff in Assassin's Creed. They really did faithfully recreate the Crusades, Third Crusade, Jerusalem, Acre, and Damascus. It was just so much fun. Masyaf is a place I know like the back of my hand. Masyaf is your assassin headquarters, is Altair. It was just great. I loved every second of going around the Holy Land. It was just so much fun. Also, Altair riding through the land on his black stallion was just, wonderful. Now, all good things must come to an end, and now we have to get to the dislikes I had in the game. Assassin's Creed, they're few, but they're poignant. So, the gameplay. The gameplay got very repetitive. You kill 9 targets. By target 6, it starts to get really repetitive. The boss fights themselves are great. The boss fights are awesome. But the gameplay of stab, run, sword fight, throw knife, it really gets repetitive. I really do have to say, it's quite annoying once you get late into the game. You understand, that how you have to fight enemies, is essentially Assassin's Creed. You don't ever want to actually physically attack them. They don't have health bars, so it's your guess as well as mine whether or not they're going to die from your next hit. But you just wait for the enemy to attack you, counter-attack, and then counter-kill. You have to earn that ability, which is nice, but you have to counter-attack and kill them. You just wait. You just stand there with 8 men standing in a circle. One of them takes a swing, counter-kill. Another takes a swing, counter-kill. You just sit there and do that for all eternity, and it's really repetitive towards the end. Also, before you assassinate each target, you can go and do 5 or 6 missions that give you extra information as to what your target is doing, paths where, a couple of them, where all the guards are going to be posted, where he's going to try to run, where you can get in to assassinate him best, when he's going to do this, what's going to do that, when this can be done. So that is really nice. However, those missions got really, really repetitive, and especially one closer to the end got really annoying. If you run anywhere in the game, you have to fast walk. You have to, shove your way through the crowd. If you run anywhere in the game, guards will immediately attack you. That's ridiculous. It's pointless. I hated fighting. I always stayed on the rooftops and never went in the streets. I played the floor as lava the whole game because it was ridiculous. I did not want to get into fights every 5 seconds because it was infuriatingly difficult to not go anywhere. I just had to keep hiding from guards. I remember at one point I was standing on top of a roof. I'd accrued so many guards. I literally just spent the next like 10 minutes grabbing guards and throwing them off the roof. Grabbing, throw, grab, throw. Because there were like 20 guards after me because I ran a single step and I had to climb up the roof. I had to get up there, dodge all the rocks they're throwing. I just threw them all off the roof nonchalantly. It was really boring and really repetitive. I didn't like it at all. Another one, you had to clear out a bunch of guards without being detected in a crowded area where there were guards watching every single corner. And like literally, I did the mission 7 times. I tried to do it 7 times, didn't work. I finally, before I accepted the mission for the 8th time, I killed every guard in the square. The guards I was supposed to kill spawned. I killed all of them, and right as I killed the last one, there was nobody else in the square. I ran over to my target because I was like, I'm sick and tired of this. I'm going to get this last piece of intel. I was running. 4 guards spawned directly behind me. And I got detected and I lost. And I said, okay, I killed all 4 guards. I literally threw all my throwing knives at them, just killed them. I was like, okay, no, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Because Assassin's Creed allows you, it does not punish you for saying, screw it, and just going for the assassination. Most of the assassinations are relatively easy to do. Of course, you can't be as flashy or as cool, or you won't have the information. It'll be a little bit more difficult, but overall, the assassinations are really easy to complete, even without all the information. And then finally, I already said how, combat was kind of like a counter simulator is what I call it. You just hold counterattack, kill. That was really a big problem for me. Later on in the games, they made it much better, especially Assassin's Creed 4 and Assassin's Creed Rogue, and even in Assassin's Creed 2, they greatly improved it. There is no replay value with Assassin's Creed. You played through it once, you've played through it. And every other game afterwards has developed so well. Here's the thing: it's kind of like what you call in power creep. You may have a good character at the beginning of the game, but you get so good later on that your previous character has no redeeming value whatsoever. Assassin's Creed is a great game. It has great mechanics, but every other game improves so much on the formula that if you play Assassin's Creed 2 first and go play Assassin's Creed 1, you will feel like you've got lead boots on. It is going to be so hard for you to play. So if you do ever try to pick up Assassin's Creed, start at the beginning, please, because you want to see the progression, not start with all the toys, because Assassin's Creed 2 gives you a million toys. But yeah, there's no replay value with Assassin's Creed. And the final thing I'll say, as far as complaints are, there is no reason to get any of the collectibles or kill 60 of the special heavily armored Templar Knights, actual Knights Templar. There is no reason for you to find and hunt them all down. There's no reason for you to get all this different stuff. You can collect flags from around the cities, and they're also pretty bugged if you try. But there's no reward other than an achievement. I mean, they fixed that a little bit later on in the games. It really doesn't start hitting until Assassin's Creed 4 when the rewards are worth it. Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelation, even 3, don't really do enough for you. But as far as Assassin's Creed is concerned, there's no reason to get any of the collectibles unless you're a completionist, and you'll rip your hair out trying. It is infuriatingly hard to get those collectibles. So, overall, I know I've been going on about how bad it is for the last 5 minutes, but I cover the good first, and then the bad. That's how I've been trained to present things. So, I went on longer than I did the good about the bad because I love Assassin's Creed. It is awesome. Altair Ibn Ahad is one of the coolest characters in video games. Being a sneaky assassin with your little hidden blade is just one of the coolest things in the world. The conclusion of the story is great. I won't spoil a thing because I want you to get Assassin's Creed for yourself. It's relatively cheap, and it's a ride. If you've never played an Assassin's Creed game before or seen it played, it plays like no other game you've ever seen. So, I highly recommend getting Assassin's Creed either for PC or for Xbox or PlayStation if you can get it. It is a wonderful ride, and once you start Assassin's Creed, you'll want to keep going. You'll always want to keep playing the next Assassin's Creed title. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.